Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
All right, we've got the deployment of another team from Alabama, another team after Alabama Task Force 1 was deployed. They have sent a second group of rescue workers to Texas to assist in the aftermath of devastating floods that killed 131 people so far. I did not know this. I think I mentioned this on the show before, but this event that we were talking about last week, they had not found a live person since the Friday directly after the event. This has all been search and recovery the entire time, and it's just very depressing to see all these people, and you've got all these people missing, some of which they will never find their bodies. Just very upsetting stuff here. But another team has come in, 131 so far dead that we know about, and then there's obviously scores missing. So this is just a very sad thing. But Alabama Task Force 1 already out there, and now they're sending another team out there to help them as well.
Number 6.
U.S. Representative Dale Strong has raised some concerns about Chinese nationals owning American farmland. And I think for good reason, because the Chinese nationals who own American farmland are really just emissaries for the government. I mean, that's what it is. You guys remember Yao Ming? Yeah, he's basically an emissary for the Chinese government. You guys remember Jackie Chan? Yes, in the new Karate Kid? Yeah. He's just basically an emissary for the Chinese government. That's what they do. That's exactly how they use their people. So this should be of no concern. Dale Strong this should be of concern. And Dale Strong has raised this issue. It's funny to read some of the articles about, the UK and China own significant land in Alabama as well. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's true, but they're not really our number one adversary globally. There's a little bit of a difference there. You know, the UK and Canada. So it's not quite the same thing.
Number 5.
Calls for transparency in the shooting of Jabari Peoples by the Homewood police have intensified. Apparently, there is going to be an independent autopsy with Benjamin Crump involved. I'm going to say this right now. Benjamin Crump is a grade A scumbag. I have witnessed firsthand his scumbaggery and lying. Okay, this is the kind of stuff where you get an autopsy that says he was shot in the back, clearly. He had no gun. He didn't. Benjamin Crump has lied for money his entire career, and he is involved in this now, so just take that for what it is. But you know how you show Benjamin Crump to be a liar? You release the footage. The mayor of Homewood also calling for it to be released, and they want this to happen before the autopsy is released. I strongly suggest they do so. It doesn't really sound like anyone's really up for changing the law at this point, which I think is very unfortunate because, once again, you allow bad actors to operate badly, and this is what you're going to get.
Number 4.
Reports from SEC Media Days originating with McElroy and Cubelic in the morning say that Nick Saban might return to coaching. Where at? I don't know. And they don't say. Just that there is someone in the know who has informed him being McElroy, of their belief that former Alabama head coach Nick Saban is not done with coaching. Lots of wiggle words there. Quote, this is a little bit out of left field, but the question was asked of me. A very much in the know person that I have a lot of respect for and have spent a lot of time around, just really, really admire. They seem to think Nick Saban's not done coaching. And a similar reaction. Pretty adamant he thinks Nick Saban will be coaching again. Look, if it wasn't someone notable, I'd never say a word. But then he wouldn't say who it was, which is pretty funny. So I think this is a bit of a reach. Lane Kiffin getting involved as well, saying he'd hired Coach Saban. So, okay, Nick Saban confirmed to go to Ole Miss. Got it.
Number 3.
Is that not what the report? Okay, fine. Governor-elect Coach United States Senator Tommy Tuberville downplayed the significance of releasing Jeffrey Epstein's files. Oh, no. Stating that the U.S. faces a lot more problems than that issue, and President Donald Trump agrees that it's time to move on. Guys, you can't talk about something for years and then be like, yeah, but maybe we should just move on. I don't know. I think it's a stupid issue. I always have thought so, but man, trying to hand wave this thing away and be like, no, don't worry about it. I don't know if that's going to work. But he minimized the importance, saying we have a lot more problems with that issue. That's true. But here's something that you might want to think about. Maybe if you just release, quote, the files, maybe you can get back to focusing on those issues instead of people asking you about this thing that you've been asked about a billion times. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Number 2.
This should be higher on the list, although I don't know how it could possibly be. MSNBC contributor and University of Alabama legal professor Joyce Vance, a complete moron, nay, a dumbass, if you will, stated that civilians might have a lawful right to self-defense against masked ICE agents, which is stupid and embarrassing for the University of Alabama. Now, is the University of Alabama going to do anything about this? Probably not. They're going to say, well, our professors have the right to academic freedom. Okay, well, let me try it this way. All right? Remember when you had a bunch of guys at the Capitol and they were exercising their free speech? I mean, this is the argument that I would make, but I'm just throwing that out there. And remember when the cops came out and were like, hey, you can't do that? They thought their country was under attack. So they thought they were pushing back against tyranny. It was just self-defense. See, I mean, if you want to use this dumb argument, you can. Would the University of Alabama allow that argument? I doubt it.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
The Trump administration is challenging a federal restraining order limiting ICE operations in Los Angeles. Now, this thing that was suggested, ordered by a judge is crazy. It is crazy. Basically, the judge said that they're picking people up because they have brown skin and speak Spanish. Okay, and that's the only reason. Okay, and I know that there are a lot of men in this country who are like, have you seen my mother-in-law? Like, you might want to come over. But that's not what's happening. That is not what's happening. What's happening is they're going to places and picking up people who are illegal. And then what's happening is the people who get in fights with them, they're picking them up as well. And some of them are illegal. No, none of these people have done anything besides come to the country illegally. So the judge says they can't do that anymore. Well, that's one court battle they're facing. Meanwhile, the Trump administration also won a court battle with the Department of Education, or about the Department of Education, where they can now start their cuts at the Department of Education that we've seen in recent days. And they're seeking to continue a pause of billions of dollars that they have been holding back since July 1st. And everyone's all fired up about that. Worth noting as well, and it hasn't been said about NASA yet, but the prescribed cuts to the federal government, it looks like they've kind of knocked some of those down and said we don't need to cut as many people as possible. Why? Because of all the buyouts. Apparently enough people took the buyouts that some federal agencies have decided they are not actually going to have to cut anything. So there is some of that. At the VA, the cuts they were going to make, I think, to 8,000 people, they've cut that down to 3,000, and you'll see that across different agencies. It hasn't quite been announced yet. But the Trump administration is in the middle of winning a lot of legal battles here. The biggest one they're in right now is the idea that, hey, you can't arrest people because they have brown skin. To which I should say, okay, well, we're not doing that anyway, so we're just going to keep doing what we want. We weren't doing that anyway. So I assume that's how that's going to go. But they are taking yet another bite at the apple from the federal judiciary where they just continuously say, you can't do that. And the Trump administration says, yes, I can. Then they go to the courts and Trump gains more power. So you continue doing that. It seems to be working out very well for you guys. Let's take a quick time out. We'll continue to get some of your thoughts on these issues and more. You can text in your concerns, questions, including questions for 10 with him at 866-494-9866. Who else would you like Emily to slander? We're on it. 866-494-WVNN. That's the scoutpestcontrol.com, WVNN hot take text line. You can also email us.
You've got mail.
Dale at WVNN.com. That is the downtownrescuemission.org email inbox. Jump in right there, and you can get your questions in. I'd say give us a call, but like our phones work. I mean, what are we doing here? Let's take a quick time out. We'll be right back.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.